My question is, I have an extra $1,000 a month. I have been just paying a little extra every month on my principal, but I want to knock this mortgage out in about 4 years. And it's a 30-year mortgage, the interest of 3.5%.
Okay.
That is my question. I'm just worried about how I'm wasting money by paying on the principal because I'm not strategizing and putting it on the right date and time.
Right.
Mm.
So here's what we're talking about. And who am I speaking with?
Linda,
Hi, Linda. How are
hi,
you?
how
Look
are
at
you?
that
We
big
got it
old
on
I'm
the
sorry,
screen.
I
smile.
was so excited to be on the mic. I didn't say hi or introduce myself either because the time is so short. I apologize.
Linda, listen, you people talk about me smiling. My goodness, look at that big, bright, beautiful smile of yours.
That's good.
How about that? Listen, Linda, what we're talking about is instead of focusing on when you could be out of debt, okay? And that's not what we want to focus on. We don't want to
Okay.
focus on when we want to be out of debt. We want to focus on how much, because what's keeping you in debt is not the money you borrowed. What's keeping you in debt longer is the amount of interest you're paying on the money you borrowed. Everybody out there, every single person out there. I'm talking about Dave Ramsey. I'm talking about Susie Orman. I'm talking about Gene Chatsky. All of them, all the great financial gurus out there are focused on paying off the principal. All of
Mhm.
them. So everybody's focus now is when can I be done? How much I can save. So if your mortgage was 0% interest, is there any financial benefit to you to pay it off early?
No, sir.
No. So then why are we focused on how fast when we should be focused on how cheap? Come on.
Mhm. Cheap.
Correct.
So when
That's
you go
good.
shopping, do you buy everything out of the retail rack?
No, definitely not.
Definitely not. So listen, when we go shopping for money, do you know what we do?
Mm.
We pay retail for our money. We don't know that we can get it on sale. We don't know that we can get it 75% off after the fact. So here's what we're talking about. I want you to go out like Tiffany does, and because listen, she'll see that dress on sale and do that thing, and she knows how to do that. What we're talking about is going out, making your contract at retail, buying it at retail, but getting paid back so much interest that you don't have to pay. It becomes wholesale after the fact. So you don't
Yeah.
want to focus on your interest rate, just your interest cost. So we can actually get a loan where we're supposed to pay 100,000. I mean, we signed a contract to pay $100,000 in interest. By the time we get done with it at the pill method, you might pay 22. Miss Linda.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's what we're talking about. That there. So here's what we want to do. So if that's what you want to do, to be able to do that, you have to optimize the use of your money. And it is not simple by any stretch of the imagination. Everybody wants to know what's the one thing I can do? Which day of the month do I pay? How much do I pay? Which loan? I don't know. I never know. That's why we plug it into a computer. And so, since a computer, I said, yes, a computer. What are the banks using? The banks aren't using a pencil and paper to figure out how they can turn 3.5% to over 50%. They're not
Mm.
using a pencil and paper that take a 6% loan and then turn it into 115.838%. They're using computers. They're using an algorithm to do all of that. What is the one thing I can do, Don, to beat the bank at their own game with my pencil and paper? No. You got to
Mm.
fight fire with what?
Fire.
Come on, you got to fight fire with fire. So when we plug everything into a computer and then the computer says, oh, here's what the bank is doing, here's how we're going to counteract that. You do this in this month, and then in month 3, you should have X amount of dollars in your savings. Pull the money out of the savings to the penny and apply it to this particular loan on this day. And we're going to figure out for you how much interest you save with that one move. And then we start the process all over again.
Mm.
It has become so simple. You know what people tell me? They said, we're paying off our debt in record time. And we have more money in the bank than we ever had before. How in the world does that work?
I got to
Yeah.
figure it out.
Listen, it's almost as good as tithing. How you can return 10% and end up with more money. I don't understand it either, but it works.
Listen. That is so good. That is so good.
All right. So, did I answer your question?
Yes, I have one quick other question.
Go ahead.
So when we get the amortization, well, the optimizing the income, if we manage to be able to pay extra, would that be penalized?
No.
Eh,
So
Okay.
what you want to do is out of your monies that are coming into your household,
Mhm.
you don't spend all of it. So you just want to maximize the amount of money that's left over. So don't try to figure out what am I going to do every month. Just take whatever is left over. Our computers will read that, tell you to put it in the bank, and whatever you're doing, however much money you have, the program will then tell you what is the best thing to do with this amount of money.
Okay.
Okay. And so to
Yeah.
know what that's your opportunity cost calculator. Every home is going to have one. It's just one of those things, you know. Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, when they were in a junior high and high school, they were sneaking into computer labs at night, and the computers were as big as houses. And back then, they were being told that every home is going to have a computer. Now, it takes a lot of vision. When your computer that they were sneaking into to use were as big as houses, to believe that computers would actually fit in every home in America. Listen, what we're trying to tell you folks is every home is going to have one of these too. We're just ahead of the curve. When you can have something in your house that's going to tell you if you do this with your money on this day, on this month, then you're going to save X amount of dollars that you can turn into generational wealth. Folks, stop trying to do this on your own. People call me up and say, Don, thank you very much for the information. I'm going to do it on my own now for free. Do you know what they do about a year later?
I'm back.
Come back. Because they can't beat the bank at their own game. They've been doing this too long. This system that we have now, listen, that it's been in place since 1934. For 87 years, they've been doing this to us. And for 87 years, I want everybody to be very clear on this thing. For 87 years that we have been paying loans like this, and the people that work in the bank don't understand it because they're not taught. CPAs don't understand it because they're not taught how an amortization schedule works since 1934. Financial planners aren't being taught. Real estate agents aren't being taught. Now, here's what I want to know, folks. How in the world that when you have the most ubiquitous, the financial tool from the bank that everybody in the world uses, but we've never been educated on how it works? How in the world can you do one or two simple things to beat the bank at their own game when we haven't been educated on how it works? You can't beat it. So now we're going to give you a computer that has been designed to beat the bank at their own game. The interest savings pays for the program. So again, when your benefits outweigh the cost, there is no cost. There's only a net benefit. Get the program, save the interest, and then take this savings and turn it into generational wealth. Miss Linda,
good.
I hope that's helpful.
It was very helpful.
All right. Do you know how to find us with the 10K card?
Yes.
All right. Go ahead and find us.
But Don has some valuable information that can contribute to the quality of a person's life. And it only costs you a few dollars. It's his book. Why not get that?
I'm going to go through the P.I.L.L method myself with some of my investment properties. So I'm going to link up with Don, and then I'm going to sit down with him, show him my investment portfolio, and see how I can eliminate interest.